G'day everyone, thought I'd pop in at a different time for all of my European YouTube followers out there because they often don't get to see me live. I'm still going to do a live chat tomorrow, but I thought I'd pop on and have a live Q&A with you guys because I very rarely can get on at this time. So I thought I'd pop on. So I'm going to give it a few minutes to let everyone log on. Basically, this is just so, you know, if you're from, say, the UK or Europe or somewhere like that, that's on a totally different time zone to I normally post, that I can say hi. So pop on the chat too. Let me know if you're on here. I'm just going to put hi on there just so we can see. Yeah, so just pop on the chat. G'day, Kenny. You are really? Yoav's here as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if I have some new people pop on because, like I said, this is a totally different time zone now than what I normally post. G'day, Barry. G'day, Scots. I got the like done. Oh, thanks. That was nice and early. Brett as well is here nice and early. Costa Sapt, I think it is. Good morning, David. Greetings from Reading, UK. That's why I thought I'd pop in at a different time for you guys, just to see if I can have a Q&A with all of you that I normally can't have a chat with. So I thought I'd pop on a completely different time. I am going to be on the live show tomorrow at the normal time around 12 Melbourne time. But I thought I'd come on with you guys for a little while and just to see what's going on, have a bit of a chat. And see if you have any questions that you'd like answered if you won't be able to sort of catch me live tomorrow. Some of the news and rumours I probably won't discuss much here tonight because I'm going to discuss that tomorrow in the full-on news and rumours. But we can certainly have a chat, and if you have any questions and things like that. Tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow I've got a big shooting a whole stack of girls doing their deb actually. I suppose it's like a formal. I'm not sure if you have debs in the UK. I think they're around about year 10. And I'm going to be photographing them with their partners, not necessarily their boyfriends. They can be partners, and it's like a full-on dance and stuff like that. But I'm going to be doing the pre-photos because they're all dressed up looking like brides, actually. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. Kerry's going to assist me because I'm going to take the pro photos, really light them up beautifully, and it's sort of looking like the place they're going to actually get photographed is like a castle, so I'm really excited about shooting there because it should just be beautiful, and I really can't wait to have a look at the results. Let me just come back here too because I want to see if I've missed anyone. Because we're getting quite a few on now. If you can, guys, please give me a thumbs up. It'll just make sure others see that I'm live. So if you can do that. How does it look? Do I look bright because I'm using a different colour balance? I wonder if I should tone that down a little bit. Oh, might try about there. I think that might look a little bit better. Let me just go back to here. I'm just seeing who's basically here because there's going to be a few different people, I think. Dave Clark, I am the truth saying is hi as well. Yoav's here from the Middle East. It's noon there. I am the truth says thank you. Steve Wake said greetings all. Daniel Robbins said hi. I'm third shift here. Jean said hi, David. 2:30 a.m. here in Calgary, Canada. Can't sleep. Wow, you can't, Jean. You certainly are popping late. I'm usually way away, you know, in the fairies by that time. First name, last name said I ride and eat baked beans. What's that meant to mean? Brett Harris said hip. Rob said hi from the UK. I am doing a prom shoot this afternoon. Oh, that's fantastic, Rob. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. So you call them proms, do you? We call them debs here. They have the debs, I think, around about year 10, 11. And then they also have the end of year formal, but the prom is like where they're dressed up like brides and stuff like that. It probably is an English tradition, actually. Pev's here as well. Yoav's saying that's better. Oh, the exposure's a bit better. Kenny said Castle and Darkness plus Flash going to be amazing. Yeah, well, it should be really good. I don't know what the weather's going to be tomorrow, but it's going to look beautiful. It's a stunning location. Barry said, looking good. Scott said, whereas Bobo... Oh, and the grandkids, that was great. Oh, I'm posting another video soon where they're in the same thing. We did a few videos on that same day. I did the video where I reviewed at the beach, And then I've done another one talking about a workshop I attended with them because they love YouTube and they're always making their own YouTube videos. So they so love being in it with me. So I've got another one to post talking about workshops as well. So they will be in another one. What else have we got? Carol's saying 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Boy, you're keen, Carol. Marius, I think that's how you pronounce it, said, hey, Dave, I've been watching a lot of your A7 III videos since I bought the camera myself. Brett said, hopefully I got my new Godox extension head for the Godox 8600 strobe. Wow, that'll be fantastic. Tomorrow, and I'll try it out for the portrait shoot Sunday. What have you got new, David? Well, the only thing I've bought new is just the... I haven't got it in here, actually. I've just bought the new gimbal. Yeah, I think it's in the other room. It works fantastic, actually. I bought a new gimbal, the Came... it's not the Came, it's the Crane M for the RX100 that I've purchased, and it's really good because it's really light. I'm using this gimbal. I don't know whether you can see it. Oh, hang on, let me switch to the... You might see it there. I'm using this gimbal all the time, which is the Moser Aircross. So nearly all the video footage you're seeing, I'm using that. But that's a bit big for something like the RX100, which I just want to do for vlogging and things, and that's why I bought the Crane M. What else have we got? Brett said, hopefully I'll get my... I've read that one. Now, Marius said, what do you think of the Tamron 28-75? It's fantastic. The version that I had is amazing. And I've heard there's a rumour that they're going to release a firmware fix tomorrow. Let's see, 7 o'clock London time. Now, whether that's true, I noticed on Sony Alpha they were talking about that. So it'll be interesting to see if that fixes the problems that they had with that lens. Clearly, if it didn't, you're going to have to send it back. But I would think the new lenses that Tamron are going to be releasing probably haven't got that issue anymore. I really like that lens. I adored it, actually, and I'm certainly thinking about getting it in the future to have as a gimbal for weddings on the gimbal. It really worked great. If you look at the video of Kiara that I did when she was at the Werribee Mansion, it was stunning. And it really is great. And I don't mind that 28-75. I like the bit of a longer reach at the end. So, you know, it's really light. It's well made. I mean, it's not made like a G Master, but that's what appeals to me because it is so light. I think, what is it? I think it's 660 grams or something like that. Like it's really light, really sharp. But one of the things that I did like about it was the fact that you can basically shoot macro with that lens as well. And that's really handy for doing something like wedding footage where, you know, I could grab the flowers and the rings and things like that without even having to put a macro on because it does get that close. It's great. The other thing you've said there too, it is my only ordered lens right now. Which prime should I get? The 35 1.4, 55 1.8 that would be, or the 85 1.8? Well, if you've already got the 28-75, the two that I adore all those three primes, Marius. I love the 35 1.4. I've packed them all away, actually, for the shoot tomorrow. I also love the 55. A lot of the videos you've been seeing lately is where I'm shooting the 55, and I really do adore that. And the 85 is definitely my favourite portrait lens. So, you know, if you can, I'd buy all three. If you can only buy two, I would probably get the 35 and the 85 to start with, and then later on you could then perhaps purchase the 55 too. Could be a good thing as well. Oh, so Kenny's saying Debs in America is called Homecoming. Oh, okay, so that's what that is. Yeah, it's a really big thing with the girls here. They do dancing and stuff like that, like quite formal. I'm not going to the actual Deb though. I'm just going to do the pre-Deb shoots. I get asked to do Debs quite a bit to photograph there, but it's just not my scene. I like doing these pre-ones where I can be creative and do what I want to do with these beautiful locations. So they're the ones that I really do love doing. So I'm excited about doing that tomorrow. It should be fun. It's a couple of hours, so I'm looking forward to it. Jean said, new gear moment wide lens for the iPhone. How is it, Jean? Is it good? I'll keep looking at that. Like I keep looking at lenses for this to see, you know, what I can do, like putting a nice wide on there or something like that. So I am still thinking about doing it sort of later on. But I update my iPhones that much as soon as they're released that often those lenses aren't sort of available. They can't be used in the new version. So I've always sort of not done it. But I am actually thinking for the first time of not actually upgrading to the new iPhone. I'll have to see what it's there. And I'm typical gear junkie. I'll probably go and buy it. But I'm seriously thinking about keeping this. If I do, then I might buy a couple of attachments. It'd be great to have a couple of attachments on this and then be able to use the gimbal. I noticed also you can use the iPhones on that Crane M gimbal. It comes with an iPhone attachment. So, you know, if I could do that and run, say, an iPhone attachment, run a nice wide-angle lens or something like that on there, it may be quite usable. Because the footage actually on this is really terrific. So let me know how that is. And what version of iPhone is it, Gene? Just so I know which one you're talking about. Cams as well said, hi David from Scotland, great to catch a live video. Yeah, I thought I'd pop on a different time for you guys, just because I very rarely get on this time for you all. I thought I'd have a quick Q&A with you all. I'm still going to do the live show tomorrow though, so if you want to watch that, obviously you may not watch it live, but you'll be able to catch all the Sony Alpha rumours and news that I usually do on the Friday. But I thought I'd give you a quick Q&A. Well, it may not be quick, I'll chat here with you for a while, see if you want anything answered. Great to catch a live video. I'm going out with the kids today to a swimming pool in a river. That'll be nice. Taking my A7 III and the Tamron 28 to 75. Fantastic cams. How are you finding the Tamron? Are you finding no focus and issues? Like I said, I just heard the firmware update's going to come out tomorrow morning. Now, whether that's true or not, but I noticed Sony Alpha Rumors put a post about it being 7 a.m. Melbourne. Well, actually, that should even be out because I think it was tomorrow, 7 a.m., which should be this morning for you guys. Let me just go to Sony Alpha Rumors. I'm just going to see if it's even mentioned. Don't forget, too, guys, before I move on, subscribe to us on this, Photography and Videography School. It's a fantastic site I've set up for all of you people. So please, if you can, join that because it's fantastic. I'm doing weekly competitions. This week was a macro image, which I selected this one. This week's task is actually to do the best slow shutter speed, and people are now starting to post all of their pictures for their slow shutter speed images inside here. And again, I'll just choose the winner from this. You know, and it's a great positive place. I love you to share your Instagram pages, you know, your YouTube pages. You can share your business pages, you know, like if you want to sort of put your Instagram feeds in there or whatever. It's for you guys. And I really want you to understand that it is for you guys. And it's a great place to communicate. But let me just go to Sony Alpha Rumors. I want to just see if it's mentioned. Because I noticed that, I'm going to talk about this again tomorrow, just in case if it may come out a bit later, but, oh, well, here you go, it's the first story. It's released. So it's saying in here that Tamron released the new firmware update for the 28 to 75 FE lens. This update improves the following issues in video shooting mode: autofocus operation and loss of focus, flicker on peripheral parts of the image when zooming. And that's the download link actually there. So it's going to be really interesting to see if it solves anything. Let me open it up and just see if anyone has said that it's fixed some of the issues. And I'll talk about this again with you tomorrow. I'm just trying to see if only it says, no, it's too early for it to say whether it's actually fixed it or not. So I'd say that any new lenses now that's going to be coming out are going to have this firmware fix there. But if you have got that lens, click on that and try and download it and let me know how it went. The funny thing is I noticed Danny, that one camera guy, just sent his back, so it would have been interesting to see if that fixed the 28 to 75. I had no issues at all with the lens that I had. It was amazing. I really liked it. In fact, I asked them if I could buy it, but they were in such short supply then they couldn't because they had to send it to other reviewers. But it's going to be interesting now to see. So hopefully by tomorrow morning when I do the live show tomorrow, there may be some more updates on that I can give you some more feedback on if it's working for people that have the lens. So particularly if any of you guys have that lens, let me know if you download the update whether it fixes it or not. What else have we got? Just got to go back to where I was. Went past there, went past there. Yeah, went past there. Yoav said, any recommendations for modifiers for a portrait shooter using two Godox V850s? Well, I can tell you what I use, and that's the only thing I can really explain to you at this stage. I mentioned it in the other live chat that I did that I use shoot-through umbrellas, and I really do love using those. But if you're dealing with the bigger modifiers like that, I love the small octas. Now, I'm not sure whether you can get them, and someone may be able to tell me in the chat for Godox. I'm sure you can, but my favourite one for the Pro Photo particularly is the 2-foot octa. I adore that one. I'll go and grab it so I can show you. So bear with me for a second. Talk to yourselves in the chat. So, now you don't have to buy, ignore the Pro Photo. There must be a version of this that you can buy. But this is the one that I love. So this is a 2-foot octa. Now I've got the grid in there. Hope you can hear me okay. I've got the grid in there so I can control the spill. If I don't need to do that, I can just take that out. It just comes over the top. But this is my favourite sort of modifier that I can take for shoots because it's lovely and light. I mean, the light's actually on it. But if you take that off, you know, it's just lovely and light. Like, it's so small and it's really beautiful. Like, nearly all the lighting that you see where I'm using the Pro Photos, I'm using this. And it's just a 2-foot octa. So if you can get something like that for the Godox system, and I'm sure you will be able to, that'd probably be what I go. That's the actual light that I'm using, which is that's the D1. This isn't the battery one. This is my studio ones that I'm using. So that's probably what I would recommend to use. I just love that octa shape. I even have a 5-foot octa that I've got in the studio. I really do like shooting with them. And then often I'll use strip boxes. I just posted a few videos the other day where I was using strip boxes and different lighting. So if you haven't checked those, go back to the last couple of videos that I actually posted. But that's what I would adore. So if you could get that, something like that, I really do recommend using that. It's just beautiful. What else have we got? Brett says, yeah, I know I have. I've become a gimbal junkie, Brett. I've got that many of them. I should sell a few, I suppose. Because I have got quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. I think I've got about 6. It's still, though, I have to tell you that my favourite still is the Moza Aircross. That's still my favourite gimbal that I've got. I adore that gimbal. It's nice and light. I love the way it self-calibrates. It's got some amazing new features that they put into the new firmware. And I really love it. And like I said, I paid for that. I'm not being sponsored by them at all. Jean said, I would consider the Sony 85 1.8 to complement the Tamron 28-75 for portraits. I got both and they're great, yeah. Look, if I could only afford one of those, Jean, if all I had was a 28-75, I would get the 35. That would be the lens I'd buy first if I had no other lens, just because I need the low light, and I'd prefer often to shoot the 35mm focal length. I'd get that before I had the 85. But having said that, I adore the 85 and the 55. I love all of those lenses. They're all fantastic. Riemann Burkus said, another live show while at work. Thanks for taking my day more easy. Yeah, I thought I'd pop on a different time for you guys just so you could sort of interact with me, because I do have a lot of you support me from, say, Europe and the UK as well. So I want to make it a bit fair with you guys as well. That's why I thought I'd pop on at different times so you guys can have an interaction with me as well. What else have we got? Marius said, I'm just in doubt about which prime lens will benefit me more. I do lots of company videos and events. Since I already have the Tamron that covers 28-75 range, I'm wondering which lens will stand out. Yeah, like I said, if you could only get one, personally, I would get the 35 1.4, but that's me. Cam said, would the Crane M work with the A7 III and a Tamron 28-75? It probably would because it's pretty light, but I think it might start to struggle, Cams. I think you need to start going to the Crane if that's the case, or the Moser Aircross. You may start to be pushing it. It does say it can support it on there, but I've heard a couple of people say that you're really starting to strain the motors. It's really sort of designed really for the A6500 sort of line, the RX100s, cameras sort of around that range, because it is a little bit lighter. And the worst thing you can do, I suppose, is start to strain the motors. Well, basically the lifetime suffers if you do that, but also your battery life suffers as well. So to be honest, I think if you were using the Tamron and the A7 III, I probably would move up to the normal Crane or get the Moser Aircross. Particularly if it was me, I'd get the Moser Aircross. Because that's reasonably priced, the Moser Aircross. It really is, and you get well, you don't get the remote. You've got to pay for that. But the features that has is amazing. Roman Baker said 10:30 in Holland. JD Strobus said, "Hi David, this is a great time to vlog for your local viewers too." Yes, and that's true, JD. This also is a great time for Australians as well, because it's actually 6:47 here in the evening, so it is still reasonably early. I just thought I'd pop in to you guys a different time. I'm still going to do tomorrow's live show around 12 at Melbourne time, but I thought I'd pop in for you guys, and I might start to do this more often, so at least you guys can, pop on live. JD Strobus said, oh no, Cam's, I've already answered that one, yeah. I agree, JD said, I agree, the 35, 55 and 85 are my favourite lenses as well. Yeah, they're just amazing, those lenses. They're so good. Great Southern Land Adventure said, some of the videos from the Moment anamorphic lens look incredible. Yeah, and I've seen a couple and they do. Like I said, I would like to try it just to see how it actually works. So I may give it a go one day. Daniel said, do you think that the big camera companies will ever start adding different apps to their camera software? It is what's making the phones a big deal compared to full-frame cameras. Exactly, and that's why I'm not selling my A6500, and that's why I haven't got the cameras all in here. That's why I love the RX100 Mark V. It's also why I love the Sony A7R II, because I can load all those apps on there, like the time-lapse app and things like that, and the gradation apps and things like that I can put in there. It really is a pity that Sony have taken that off the latest cameras, and I've got a feeling it was probably to do with them not wanting us to do the time limit hacks that you can do on those cameras, because not having the Play Memories apps has stopped you being able to do that no time limit hack. So you can no longer do it. So I think that's probably why they've moved down that area, which is a little bit disappointing. But yes, I agree with you. I really wish they could do that. Perhaps one day we're just going to attach our phones to these cameras, and you might get the software from the cameras. How good would that be? Tane Bell said, how much girls have you had in one? I don't think I'm going to answer that one. Let me come up here. Scott said, what's your experience of small video lights? Just ordered the Aperture M9. Let me just have a look at that one. I'll come into here and I'll have a look. Aperture. What is it? The Aperture A9, is it? M9. So let me have a look and just see what that's like. Oh, okay, yeah, they're the smaller type ones, yeah. I don't really use them, to be totally honest. I'll just move this over so you can see what it is. It's this one here. Does it have like on the actual body? No. Looks like quite a nice unit though. Looks quite good. I have got some smaller. Lights, but to be honest, I very rarely use on-camera lighting. The thing with the way that I'm working is, remember, I'm shooting Fusion, so I'm shooting video and stills basically at the same time. So whenever I'm starting to deal with lighting, I'm adding lighting on basically stands and doing it that way rather than directly on the camera, because often I've got the flash on the camera mount, so I'm not sort of running separate lights like that on the camera. I do have a couple of smaller ones. I can't even remember what they are. They're no name brand ones, I think. But I'm basically using the Roto Near lights. They're the ones that I'm using on light stands, or I'm using the ice lights on light stands. And I set them up in certain areas, and then I will just basically use that. So there's nothing officially on the camera itself, and I'll run that way rather than putting them on camera. I know a lot of videographers will run this way just to add a little bit of a key light onto you, onto the subject that you're dealing with, your talent, and it seems to work okay. It's just not the way that I tend to work. Because I come from a photography background, I love to use lighting off camera, you know, and to get that nice cinematic look, and that's why I basically use them on light stands, and it's that way. So really, I can't comment on that at all, Scott. So sorry, but it's probably a nice light. Carl said, "Hi David, I have a friend just getting into photography, nature and wildlife photography mainly. He's just bought an A7 II and needs an entry-level zoom lens, cheapish. The Tamron is the best one you can get, Carl. Recommend the Tamron 28-75. You'll have to pre-order it pretty quickly, though, because they're still very hard to get, but that's the one I definitely would say to grab. Now, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Jeffaria. I'm not sure. Hi, David. What do you think of the Zeiss 25 Batis for landscape? That'd be a beautiful lens. The Batis are gorgeous. I love the 85. The Batis 25 I have used I've only used it in the shops though, actually. I haven't taken it out though, but from what I saw when I used it in the shops, it's extremely sharp. Focusing fantastic. I wouldn't hesitate to buy any of the Batis lenses. And to be honest, 25 for me is probably not bad. I'm tending to shoot more and more landscape when I do it and use longer lenses because I like the compression of bringing things forward. Sometimes I'm finding the wider the lens, it can look fairly flat, and I'm not sure if I really like that, but that's the way I shoot. I do have the 16-35 f4 though, and I could use that. But yes, the Batis would be beautiful. Rob said, do you know anyone about the firmware update for the A9? I understand Sony have removed it until they fix some bugs. Yes, I think they did. Let me just go over, we'll have a look on Sony and just see if it's available. Because I updated and no problems at all. So let me just check in here and see which version is still there. Yeah, it looks like it's still... Oh, June the 27th. I think it's there. Or is it? So let's click in and have a look, see what's available. Mac OS. Firmware. Yeah, it's version 3, so it's... Oh, it's still there. I think that's the new version, isn't it? Version 3? Oh, no, it's suspended. Yeah, it's saying there. The version 3 update has been temporarily suspended. If the update is already installed, new icons may appear in the function menu. These new icons will not work. And that's what I found with that according to all the reviews that I saw about that problem, there was only an issue with, I think it was a deflicker. Excuse me. I think it was a deflicker appeared on the FN menus, and it was also saying something like 500. I think it was something to do with video frame of 500 or something. I can't remember what it was, but there was something like that that appeared as well. So I think though, to get that bug, it depended what you had in the FM menu to start with. I didn't have that show up, and it might be because I've changed the whole FM menu to suit me. And I have upgraded to that latest firmware, so I've got no issues. So, yeah, there you go. Now, I noticed Michael said to me on the chat the other day that he hadn't had it show up initially, and then it actually started to appear. He had it appear, so he has had it, but I definitely haven't had it. Let me grab my A9 and I'll just check. So I'll just start it and just see on the FM menu whether it's showing anything unusual coming up. Yeah, no, it's all fine. It's still exactly the same as what I had. So I've got a feeling that it does depend on what you had in that FM menu to start with, because I know some people that have had it and they've said they've changed certain things as well and they've appeared. So it probably is related to that. But it doesn't have anything to do with the way the camera operates. Those features don't work. So I suppose they've just pulled it until they can work out what that was, and they'll reissue that firmware update. So I hope that helps you understand that. Please give me a thumbs up too, guys, just so more people may pop in and know that I'm on here. But the A9 firmware for me has been fine. No problems at all. Jean said, using the iPhone X so far, so good. I'm liking the wide look. I'll get to try it more during my trip to Eastern Canada. Yeah, let us know how it is. It should be fantastic, I think. Can you link the Facebook group? Yeah, let me see if I can link it in here. I'm not sure if I can, though, on there. I'll have a go. Just see if it comes into here. Did it go in? I just linked it there, guys. So let me come back. Where were we up to? Let me check. You always lose where you're up to. Oh, there we go. So we're up to that. Steve said, new gear, MC11. Oh, you got an MC11, 128 gig class 2 card. Lovely. Hey, how are you, Steve? Anyway, Brett, I buy all Godox modifiers on eBay. Brett, did you know if they have octa, like 2-foot octas? Just mention too whether you know if you can get them on eBay for Godox. Free Music's just saying hi. Andreas is saying, awesome time to stream. Cheers from Denmark. Thanks so much. Yeah, I thought I'd pop on a different time for you guys. What else have we got? Ollie said, excellent. 2 live shows in 2 days. Free Music said, you're cool, man. Thanks. Alan said, hi. G'day, Alan. How you going? What else have we got? Attilia said, hi, David. So nice. Nice to see you here. Duncan said, hi David, do you have any recommendation for a wide angle? I'm considering the Sony 12-24, but is there an alternative prime? Well, there are some great 12mm primes. I'm just going to go to B&H. Let's see what we can find. Just let me 12mm. Because there was a couple that I'd really like to try in here as well. There's obviously, let me just bring up this. There's obviously the Rockion 12mm that you can use, but this was the one that I thought that I'd actually like to look at. Now, let me see if I can bring up an American one. Let me see if I can bring this one up. This was the one that I wouldn't mind to try myself. The 12mm, I believe it's that zero distortion one. It's meant to be really nice. It's manual focus though, but look, a wide angle lens like that is not an issue having manual focus anyway. So that's one particularly that I would love to try, and I may try it somewhere down I know in the future somewhere if I can get my hands on one. I'd love to review one. But it does seem like all the reviews and everything that I've seen from that always say that it is a really stunning lens. It's zero distortion lens, so I think they're saying that there's no distortion in this at all. So I'd love to try that one. But like I said, there's also, if you didn't want to spend that much, well then obviously you can go sort of that Rockion, which is a 12mm fisheye lens. I'm not sure, is that APS-C or is it... no, it's full frame. Yeah, so that's $513 roughly, I think they're saying there. So there's some good ones around that. I think the Rockion and the Samyang are the same lens. There's that Zeiss, if you wanted to spend a fair bit of money, there's the Zeiss 12mm 2.8 lens as well. Like I said, I'd love to try some of these. These would be gorgeous, these lenses. That will be a stunning lens as well. I think that must be autofocus. Oh, it might be manual. Does it say? Don't think it says. Oh, no, it's manually. Precision when manually focusing. I think it probably is a manual focus lens. But I'd really like to try a couple of those. But like I said, wide angle manual focusing is not an issue at all because basically everything's in focus. So there are a couple of lenses that I really would like to try in the future somewhere. Hi, David. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name. Is it Quibili? Hello, David. Should I consider the Godox AD200 over the AD600 for portrait? No, I'd get the AD600 if you can, because you need more power. Look, the AD200's a great flash, but there's not really enough power there to overpower the sun. You've got to get so close to the subject. So the AD600 would be way better. But I believe there's a new Godox AD400 rumoured to be coming out soon, so that may be good as well. But I think if I had the choice over those two, personally, I would get the AD600 if you're doing mostly outdoor work. Maria said, is there any rumours about time-lapse being added to the A7 III? I feel it's disappointing that such an expensive camera can't shoot time-lapse. No, I don't think they're not going to do it. They've never really added anything like that before, so I can't see them doing that at all. You're just going to have to buy an intervalometer, which is a pain, I agree. It was great before because you could use the internal apps for that, and it really is a pain that, you can't do that anymore. So it's awful. I really wish Sony didn't do that. I think not having a time-lapse app inside a professional camera is really silly. Remon said, my plan is getting the 55, 85 and the Aircross, but really hard to get here. Oh, okay, really hard to get here. Which one would you advise to get first? Already have the 35. If you already have the 35, the next one I get is the 85. That's the one that I'd be getting. And then after you've got that, you could then get the 55 later on. But they'd be the two I'd get first. Daniel also said I would prefer ice lights or rotor lights. Yeah, he's talking about lighting, and I agree. I agree the same. They're both fantastic lights. I prefer the ice lights best. Check out the video I just posted today. I show you how ice lights work in the studio, and really it's a nice result. Although I just had... I just had someone complain to me about that I made a bit of a joke at the beginning of it. And look, I just said to the guy, if you don't sort of like my sense of humour, just unsubscribe, because that's the way I am. I'm just not being fake to anyone. We're having a bit of fun, myself and Kiara together there at the beginning of the video where we're going a bit silly, but I don't want to just post everything so serious all the time. If you want that sort of thing, you need to sort of look at other people, because it's not the way I am. And I'm in it just to be me. I'm not in it to be fake. And that's basically what I said to the guy. I was, look, you might be better to unsubscribe if you don't like that. I've put that link in there if you did want to join the photography Facebook group. So that's in there for you if you did want to join that. JD Strober said, do you think one gimbal could be purchased to cater for the RX100 through to the A7 series cameras? Well, I did put the RX100 JD on the Moser Aircross and it was fine. So yes, I'd say the Moser probably is. And I think the Cranes can do it too. I just wanted a smaller gimbal. That's why I bought the M series just for the RX100. Thasan said, greeting from London. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. Torben said, banana phone. Oh, boy. Brett Harris said, yep, smaller sizes. John said, hi from England. First time I ever caught you live. Love the show. And I don't even have the Sony A7. Thank you, John, so much for supporting me. And that's why I thought I'd pop on a different time for you guys so that you could actually, see me live for a change and we can go through some questions for you guys. I'll still have the show on tomorrow, but, yeah, I wanted to talk to you guys in person for a change. Steve Wag said, good, thanks for asking. I have to go to Camera Club. Catch you later. No worries, Steve. Raymond said, one more. Keep firing away, Raymond. That's why I'm on here. Raymond said, one more question. To shoot 4K 100 megabits, I need UHS-2 cards. Any good suggestions? Well, the only ones I really use are the Sony ones, so I'm just using those. Oh, let me go to... Oh, I was on the wrong thing, actually. I was on this... where are we? I'm using those. So that's the one that I'm using. Now, my backup card, which I think still can... Oh, I might not be able to... Oh, no, I think it still can do the 4K. I'm just using these as the backup cards. They're Extreme. They're SanDisk Extreme cards. And I think they've got to be... I think they've got to be rated 3 in that little dialer box over there to be able to do your 4K video footage. So that's what I'm using as the backup card, and the main card was using the fastest Sonys that you've actually got there. So that's basically what I was using for that. So I hope that helps. Ron said, "Hi David, have you heard anything more about the FE135? No, I'm still hanging out to try the Sigma ones. I did have a meeting on Tuesday, and hopefully I'm going to be able to do those for you soon when the Sony ones are released particularly. So I should be able to get my hands on some Sony, or I even said, look, I'd review the non-Sony Sigma lenses just so I can actually review them and show you guys how they work. I'd love to try the Sigma 135. I don't think Sony, hopefully they'll do it, but there's no sort of rumours at the moment that that's coming out. Perhaps if Sigma release one, it might change their mind. Would you prefer Prime 135 or 70-200? No, I'd prefer the Prime 135. I love shooting primes, so that's the way I would be. I definitely prefer a 135 than the 70-200. I love my 70-200 f4, but I don't use that anywhere near as much as I use, say, the Batis 85. And a 135 would be gorgeous. I'd love to try that. I also want to try the Sigma 105 against the 135 and see how they both look in comparison, to see how the bokeh and everything looks as well. I noticed Matt Granger did a review the other day. I watched it this morning, actually, of the Sigma 105 on his Nikon. But he didn't really show the bokeh. I know there was only one section where he showed bokeh, and the Sigma definitely looked rounder than what the Nikon 105 did. So I think you're going to find the reason why that lens is so big is to give you that beautiful bokeh, or bokeh, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Duncan said, thanks, no worries. Brett said AD Pro 400s is rumoured to be released. Yeah, I don't know when. Yeah. So I'd get the AD 600s. I'm laughing here at Mark said more banana phone videos. If you go into my photography videography school, there's an hilarious video in there at the moment that you'll be able to watch that Torben put on, I think. And if you look at it, you'll laugh your head off. I laughed when I saw it. He's sort of taking off me. It's quite funny. More banana videos. He definitely will watch. He definitely will make another appearance sooner or later. Reza said, what do you think about the Sigma 85 1.4? Great lens. It's great, Reza. I used to own that lens on Nikon, and I loved it. The Art series lenses are fantastic. It will be really good. But like I said, I've really got to try it now on Sony, because I'd love to see how it works. Like a lot of those lenses that are moving around big glass, it may not be that fantastic for video, but for stills, I think it's going to be amazing. So I really want to try it myself to see how it works in video and whether it's very noisy. But the lens itself will be great. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I used to have that lens when I was shooting Nikon. Mario said, who's the girl in your videos? Nice trick to use a pretty girl to get more view times. That's Kiara. I've been working with her extensively because look, I used to, and I probably still will go back to that, where I film nearly all the shoots that I do. The only thing was it was taking an awful lot of time, and I couldn't really do the things that I wanted to do. So at the moment, Kiara is working with me in one of the modeling groups that I'm doing. And basically, we're just working together to put out extra things, and it lets me have the ability to try some things that I wouldn't normally be able to do. So she's working with me that way, and it's really good fun. So, yeah, that's the reason why we're working so much together at the moment. G'day, Oreo. Good to see you in here. Torben said, I'm not sure the angry German would appreciate another banana phone video. You've got to look on that video in my photography videography school on Facebook. Gert saying, hi from Belgium. I use the SanDisk Extreme Pro 300 megabyte a second without a problem for 4K. Yep, thanks for letting us know. Gene said, trying to install these firmware updates with Mac is a pain. Yes, it is, Gene, but if you've got to follow the instructions letter by letter. Now that I know that, it's easy. But before, if you don't follow the instructions that come up with the driver that you've got to load, it's a nightmare. But if you follow those instructions step by step with that driver loader, it works every single time and it's very easy. You do have to follow it step by step though. So you load the driver version first, that loader, and then basically it'll come up with a dialog box that says OK. You don't click the OK until you've connected your camera. Then you click OK. Then you go through the firmware update and it works every time. It took me ages and honestly I was going nuts trying to get that to work. But now that I've worked that out, it's easy. I'm the Truth said, greetings from Paris. I've hesitated for a couple of weeks to get the Tamron 28 to 75. Finally bought the 24 to 105 G lens back ordered. Planning to get maybe the 35 2.8. Yeah, 35 2.8 is great. That's that lens there. I mean, I love that lens. Fantastic, so small. It's got the ND on there at the moment, that Polar Pro ND that I use. And the good thing about that is you can use the same ND on this as you can on the 55mm. So how fantastic is that, to have that ability to do that? You know, it's really great. But yes, I do. I love that lens. Great street lens. Fantastic to use. I adore it, actually. M1 Hoff said, did you hear anything about the new Godox LC5? No, not the 500, but I heard about the 400. But it's only a rumour at this stage. Damon said... oops. Oop. Let me just delete something here. Okay. I was just deleting a comment. Let me have a look. So where else are we? Raymond said, I heard you can use the cable of the Aircross to take time-lapse. Yes, you can. Yep, you can. You can use the time-lapse app on the iPhone. It's that, the cable you use is just this one. So one side obviously just connects to your camera. The other side connects into the gimbal. And then you can use the time-lapse app inside the iPhone app to do time-lapse. Yes, so you can. And it works. Yeah, I did. Sorry, Marius. I was deleting another thing and I just made you a moderator. I took you off again. You may not want to be a moderator. Oh, dear. What else have we got? So yes, it does. That's one way you can get around using time-lapse. So you can probably do the same thing with the crane as well. I think that's got time-lapse apps as well. It's good too because you can also do the panning at the same time you're doing your time-lapses. And all you do is you set your beginning point, move your camera to sections where you want it to go, and it sort of puts in keys where you're going through, and then it'll move over that whole section and do a whole time-lapse for you. Yeah, it works quite well. Daniel said, one of the downsides that Matt had about the 105 lens is the weight. And if you're using an adapter, using that on a Sony body, that is going to be way out of balance, yeah. The native version probably will be even quicker. I mean, it certainly will be better for focusing. And I'm not sure he didn't use the MC11 adapter either, which probably I think is a little bit better. He used the Metabones one, didn't he? Ron said, thanks, I was leaning towards a 135. Can't wait to see what you have to say about the Sigma. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those. Hopefully it won't take too long. Mario said, can you show us your first photo, some old photos from when you started? Ooh. Not now, I can't, but I will see eventually if I can do that. Yeah, and I'll bring some old ones up. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, actually, to show you from way back. If you go onto Flickr, you'll sort of be able to see stacks of my older work. If you scroll way back on Flickr. But a lot of it too was I used to shoot film, so I didn't even have a record of that sort of stuff. When I shot fashion and stuff, that was all film, and I didn't sort of keep a record of any of that. Oscar said, "Hi David, raining here in Toowoomba." Oh really? It's pretty windy here, but it's not raining. We've hardly had any rain for ages actually. Moria said, "Yeah, I didn't mean to moderator. Yeah, took him off again." Gert said, "With the Moza app, you can make intervals. Yes. Need to connect the cable. Yep. Still waiting for Sony support for start-stop recording though. I thought I added that on the Moza. I don't know. I'll have to try it again. I thought I could do that when I added that cable, Gert. I thought it worked. I saw the LZ500 for pre-order. Oh, okay. Raymond said, "Thank you so much. By the way, I like your grey shirt." Oh, thank you so much. So is there any more last questions? Just to let you know too, I will be having tomorrow's live rumours and news. That will be on 12 o'clock Melbourne time. So if you did want to ask me questions there, you can join us there live. If not, leave the questions down below because I always answer them personally, unlike a lot of people that don't do that. So, you know. Reza said, David, I mean new Sigma 85 1.4 art for Sony. Oh, okay, yep. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting. I can't wait to try those lenses out, the Sony version of that. I'm looking forward to trying it. I want to try the 135 Sony and the 105 Sony too. Maria said it would be cool to see a video where you compare photos from when you were starting out to now and talk about how you've gotten better with light composition and stuff. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maria said, perhaps I'll do that one day. That would be quite interesting, actually. Like I said, it's sometimes hard for me because I used to just do film and I haven't got records of that stuff. The latest rumours about Nikon. I noticed there was a big rumour the other day that I saw. Let me just come into here. Let's see what we can find. I'll go through the specs with you and we can have a look and see what it says. Hopefully this is the latest one. So they're saying the latest rumours on Nikon Rumours sites are saying there's two mirrorless cameras, one with a 24 or 25 megapixel sensor and one with a 45 megapixel sensor is also a possibility. I assume both cameras are full frame, similar body size to the Sony A7 cameras with better ergonomics and a better grip. 5-axis in-body stabilization, 9 frames per second, a new mirrorless mount that they're talking about there as well. I was given, this time is 55mm, the Z mount dimensions. They're saying, so it's going to be a Z mount. The new lens mount will allow for 0.95 lenses. Well, you can do that on the Sony as well. Memory cards XQD and CF Express. Well, that's interesting. EVF resolution 3.6 megapixels. Update, that's really nice. Initially, 3 lenses will be announced, a 24-70 and a 35 and a 50, but obviously you can be able to use your other Nikon lenses with adapters, I would say. Now, that's going to be the interesting thing to see how well those adapters will actually work. The 45 megapixel model will be around $4,000 or €4,000. The 25 megapixel will be under $3,000. They're going to have that to compete with the A7 III. The official announcement is rumoured at the end of July or around July the 23rd, and the shipping shortly after August the 23rd. So it looks like they're going to have cameras out before Canon, which is interesting because Canon are still saying shipping next year, aren't they? It's only going to be announced this year, so that's quite interesting. Maybe we'll see the development announcement at the end of July and the official announcement before Photokina. I mean, like I said to people the other day in the photography videography school and things, I think it's a great thing and we all need competition. So I'm really hoping that Nikon and Canon do really well with these, because if they do well, then also, you know, Sony will have to innovate as well, which means we all win. I mean, you never know. It's like anything. Hardware is hardware. If I see a fantastic camera that's Canon, if I see a fantastic camera that's Nikon, I may buy one. I mean, it's interesting to have those options out there, and I really hope that it's basically a great camera first unreleased. Just let me get rid of this guy though. So I think that's probably what I'm thinking. But I'm a bit I'm a bit reluctant to think that they will basically be as good as Sony right from the start. Remember, you're dealing with Sony have taken a number of years, probably 3 years, 4 years to get up to the stage where they're up to now with the A7 III. And that really is an amazing camera. I'll be very, very surprised if Nikon and Canon can release a camera that can compete with that right from the ground up, right from the start. And that's going to be the interesting thing. I hope they do. I really mean that. And I really hope they do release some amazing cameras, because we all will win. It will drive prices down, and it will mean that everyone has to innovate. Remember, the worst thing could ever happen is if Nikon or Canon went broke, and then Sony wouldn't have to innovate anymore, and we don't want that. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that that happens. But we have to wait and see how good it will actually be. So last few questions before I finish. I'm going to go in and chill for a bit. So let's hope, Barry, that it is a good release. Yes, let's hope it is. David, what are your thoughts on the difference between using an umbrella, shoot-through, bounce versus softbox or octobox? Well, look, the problem, I suppose, is if you're dealing with an outdoor, if you're dealing with an umbrella, and I do use them all the time, but I use them basically when I'm just using the hand flash. And that's for basically simplicity. The problem with an umbrella is it spreads the light basically everywhere, and it's not concentrated, because in this type of light, all the actual light is forced forward. There's no spill coming out the side or back or anything like that. The whole lot is pushed through due to the way these are made with the silver inside and things like that. And therefore you can control it. So the main difference between an umbrella is that you're going to lose part of the light initially, because you have got that bit where it can escape either sides. And you've got not as much control in directing where that light will actually go. So that's the issue with using shoot-through umbrellas. But the shoot-through umbrellas are fantastic for run and gun stuff, like where you're working quickly and you're holding flashes, just your normal speed lights. And I do even use them with the Pro Photo sometimes if I'm traveling really light. So that's the issue. The beauty with something like the Octa is I love the shape. It makes a beautiful shape in the eyes, the catch lights. And I just love the way it's a gorgeous sort of light modifier. I love the way the light falls off, but I also love the way you can put the grids on that to control spill, which is the best part about using something like that light, and that's why I use that all the time. So I hope that sort of explains the difference between like a shoot through. Bounce, just your bounce with, I've got quite big ones for bouncing off umbrellas. I've got I think it's a 5 foot, 6 foot one that I use, and I really like that actually. It's silver. I'll use that as well sometimes, and that gives me a real hard type light, and I actually quite like that as well. But again, you have got the spill that can come off that, whereas in the Octa or these lights where it's all enclosed, you've got full control about where the light's going to go. I like to use something like that with grids on it, because then I'm not getting spill on the ground or areas where I don't want that light to go. And you can't do that with shoot-through umbrellas or if you're bouncing back off umbrellas, because the spill is going to be everywhere. Whereas if you have it like that in, say, an Octa or any sort of camera flash modifier like that, you can control it, particularly with grids. Martin said, I've just joined your Facebook group and waiting to be accepted. Yeah, I'll have a look at all those in a minute, Martin, and add people in that want to join. JD said, I love to see medium format camera on the market. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would never need a medium format though. I used to use it with film years ago. Just don't need it now. They're too slow for the way I work. Mike said, can you put that Facebook link in the notes on the video? Yes, I will, Mike. I'll stick that down below so you can add there if you like. I'll stick it up the top. I think the only thing they will ever have over Sony is the flippy screen. Is that talking about the Nikon or Canon? Is that what you're saying, Ramon? Ollie said, the reason I asked about the umbrella is that I attended a workshop where the guy said bouncing from an umbrella gives better natural light look than that of a softbox. I don't agree with that. Light's light. It just depends on what you're after. Like I said, though, it's spread though. That's the thing with it. You will possibly contaminate areas where you don't want it to go, and that's the issue, I suppose, if you're dealing with that. Sar's just saying, hi, Mark said, what size Octa do you normally use? Well, that's a 2 foot Octa, and in the studio I've got a 5 foot Octa. So that's what I use in the studio. Sar said, did you test the 2875? No, I haven't, because I haven't got that lens. I had to send it back, Sar. So I'm dying for people on here to say if they've got that lens. Hopefully they'll let me know overnight, and then I can talk about it in tomorrow's live news and rumours. JD said, if you shoot outdoors in open spaces and particularly not concerned about the direction, shoot through umbrellas are just as good as any modifier. Yeah, if you shoot outdoors, they are. But the problem is too, I find whenever I shoot them, you can tell it's been flashed because it lights up the ground as well. And that's why I don't like to use them that much, because I like to basically get people to think, was a flash even used? Because you can control the direction of your flash when you're dealing with soft boxes and with grids on it. You can't do that with a shoot-through umbrella. That's about it, guys. So look, I promise I'll do these more often for you guys, particularly, say, even in Australia, because it's night time now. If you're in Europe, and also if you're in the UK areas there that, you know, never get to sort of see me live in that respect, I'll do this more often with you guys too now. It's just great to have a chat with you as well, because you obviously can't get into the live one that I do tomorrow because you're all in bed basically. So, you know, we'll just see if I can do this, and I promise I will. I'll do it more often. If you have any questions, anyway, leave those down below. Like I said, I do always answer them, and that's one of the things. I'd hate to ask you to leave questions and then not answer it. I hate YouTubers that do that. They say leave a question down below and they never answer them. I think that's so rude. Anyway, guys, that's all for now. And I'll see you all again for the next video. So, bye for now.